October 21st, about 9 in the morning. Um, you can see this is a Kendrick culvert. That white piece of pipe is what Jefferson County just looks like extended onto ours. I don't know if that was done yesterday, but it was definitely done after we told them that Jefferson County staff that was on the site that they didn't have approval. Yesterday we actually met at this site with the attorney we just hired to see if we can get some kind of help. We were told by this ditch company, Stewart Eskins ditch, we own the water that comes from the lateral there, the green going into pipe, but we were told by the Stewart Eskins ditch that our pipe was installed too high by the contractor. We've been telling the contractor too, he hasn't had permission to bury our pipe and do this without at least letting us look at it and consent. But that continues. Yesterday we came here with our lawyer, and just so happened Gene Bennett, who's working with the county and been involved in this on the ground, was here with Mike Schuster, I believe his name is, Stephen Duran, the Director of Transport and Engineering for Jefferson County. And during our meeting, actually, Commissioner Teague actually came to the project. I'd written him an email asking him for help and telling him that Jefferson County staff is currently working on our lateral without approval, and that we were flooded out as a result of this again last Saturday. So I don't know what's gonna happen with all that, but hopefully the county people at the meeting kept asking us to make changes because they said that they are under a agreement with the Stewart Eskins ditch company with that big culvert, and they have to make sure everything's correct and turned on by irrigation season on April 1st. But the irony there is that we've been begging and pleading to the county that there was not approval granted for any of the changes made to our pipe. Now the developer has hired the county to make changes, and we continue to tell them that they're not approved, yet the county continues to make them because they're under an agreement that they should be under with us to make changes with a different ditch company that they need to honor. So I guess because we don't have the power or the money to kind of throw our weight around as much, that's the only thing I can think. We've been begging and pleading for help from the county through videos and multiple emails since last July, when our ditch it used to be a surface lateral, but now it's buried under the road. We have no way to access it. It hasn't had a control on this head gate. It was ripped out a head gate over a year ago. It's flooded our property at least 5 times that we've documented now, as of Saturday. And now our pipe that was a surface underground, we knew how to maintain it with a shovel. It's buried under this stuff. I think I'll walk over it if I can here, as good as I know where it is. But it goes now under this wall. You can see the utilities that now are all around it underground. So any repair that we need to make now is going to require us to figure out where it is first and then how to access it. But somehow we used to just take a shovel and fix it, but I'll try to go up. This is club at Rolling Hills. This is the Cottages at Rolling Hills. That is the developer that's been continuing to just make changes without any kind of permission, approval. there's a Xcel Energy transformer that's directly on top of our lateral now. When we contacted Xcel Energy and explained to them that they had a transformer, they told us that they were where they're supposed to be within their easement. I asked them if it's their typical protocol to put transformers directly on top of active irrigation laterals, ditches, and they said absolutely not. We definitely have at least a foot spacing over the top of it, so they know they're in violation, but I guess the developer has granted them an easement without authority, so we've been trying to deal with that. Here's another one. This is CenturyLink, now Lumen. I think they're an $11 billion company. They installed this on top of our lateral again. And when you contacted them, they told us that we're out of our mind, that we can't have a easement where we're telling them our pipe can't be where we say it is, and we need to provide them very expensive surveys and prove it before they're going to do anything. And I asked them if we need to make a repair, we might need to move this. They told us that they're going to send to their legal team a request for us to pay all repairs. And here's Kendrick and 32nd. I think our water pipe is under here somehow. We don't know how to access it, but there you go. Have a strong finger, you can get there, and then you gotta be stronger than me to access it here, but this should be an access point for the lateral. We have no idea how to clean it out, if there's a rock under there, how that works, but that's a place that in theory you can access it. So our pipe basically goes under the sign, under the wall, under the transformers to here, and then follows it down. I think we go under the concrete sidewalk here, public sidewalk. I think this is another one. And then I think it kind of just hangs out under the sidewalk for the most part, because I really don't know exactly where it is, so, or now. So we were flooded out last year primarily because as the irrigation season was running, they had torn everything up and water was, I know the ditch company guy said that Jefferson County called him because water was all over their roads here from our ditch during construction. But the flow in this 8-inch pipe was at maximum, and that's probably at least 2 times anything we'd ever had before. So basically overwhelmed the ditch on our property and continually flooded us out. Initially, we learned about it when our tenants renting the property called us last July saying they had no water because it had been shut off. And that was just when the development here got started. But now you can see I have continued to ask him to please work with us and stop, and we continue to get flooded out, and it's just rolled, it seems. So here's the stormwater detention pond, and I think our lateral, you can start to see it here. It was supposed, you can see that blue or green pipe, it was supposed to connect to an existing pipe that was raised over that grade, but I think they had to lower that for some reason to accommodate their stormwater or whatever. But they also had to install, I think, at least 200 feet of this pipe at 0% slope to accommodate the development. So there's a storm drain you can see Here's their finished product as built, but it doesn't match the as built drawings we were provided by Jefferson County, because those show connecting to that old pipe. Instead, they lowered this pipe, installed this silt fence, and we now have debris, a silt fence trying to retain all this added fill dirt. And this is the Rocky Mountain ditch where trash and stuff's flowing down from this new project. This pipe too flows uphill at the end. If you put a level on it, it's pretty easy to see that. I don't have a level with me. Here's our property behind the hedges. And our irrigation ditch. And when we were first contacted by the developer last summer, he showed us his plans, which would have included basically lowering our ditch and putting it into a pipe, which is a big problem because we gravity feed a lot of the irrigation from the top there, from here area. So we protested that. They made a change to keep the pipe over the top of the ditch there and tap into it on the other side, but I guess that didn't work for their development, so they changed those plans without letting us know. And the culvert's going underneath me as I'm walking, so I think these properties, there's 2 lots right here that are vacant that have never been built on that were recently purchased, and I think there's 2 people. We just talked to the engineer on one of them and the surveyor on the other that are all asking, telling us they're gonna soon build houses here, so they wanted to work with us and our ditch to make sure that whatever they did worked and wasn't gonna negatively impact us. This is the stormwater outflow for the cottages at Rolling Hills. It was just installed. As you can see, it's made of plastic. I think Jefferson County requires that they're made of concrete or steel, but I don't work for Jefferson County. It's just something I read, so maybe it doesn't apply. I told Jefferson County that this had occurred and that, but they, I guess, reviewed it and said it's not an issue. But this is where it flows out. As you can see, the stormwater, which is now harnessing all the water from West 32nd all the way to Kendrick, probably some of it that's going up Kendrick, down to here, and the entire, I think it's a 6-acre development. It'll have houses on it. I think they're requesting basements as well. They had a high water table, so that should push even more water, quite a bit more water in the future through this pipe. And I don't know what it is, probably 16 inches or so in diameter. It's pretty big, but we've had some pretty big storms that have pushed tons of water. So, and September there was a little storm, and I just came out here to check this, and I saw there was already like water coming down through and going into our irrigation ditch. So if you follow this down, it takes you to our irrigation ditch lateral, which is right here. Jeffco just came in and tore out some trees, so it looks like we got some work to do here, but this is the ditch, our irrigation ditch, the same one that provides water to our property, and then the property you can see right here with the cattails. Cattails are likely from the massive amount of water we had last year. I think they kind of flooded that property out for a while, so, but I guess the owner of that property gets to deal with that one, unfortunately. Anyway, this is the ditch, and you can see, I mean, I think it's pretty clear, not being an engineer, but you back up where this water is going to drain. I mean, everything is draining to the south. So if it's gonna intersect into our ditch at some point, whether it's on that side of Isabel Street, the west side, or this side, the east side. You can see this is where the property stake is for the last person that uses the water from our ditch. But, well, that's the story.